today we got a little bit of a double situation going on. We usually do, the bets and stuff. We've talked previously about like the profitable teams and all that, but BJ, our guest from Action Network, is a Red Sox fan, so we thought it would be a pretty fun thing to do a Red Sox series preview mixed with a little bit of the betting stuff going on in this series. So, how you doing, BJ?
I'm doing fantastic, guys. How's everything in Yankee land?
Well, this guy isn't falling anymore.
Oh,
last time you
that.
were, last
Oh
time
my
you were
goodness.
on, I wasn't on that
I can't
episode,
believe
to be
it.
fair, but yeah, no, this guy's.
If you were on, you would have the same.
I would have had the same reaction. Check the tape. I definitely was not feeling.
You guys were doom and gloom, like life is over, and I'm just trying to tell you guys that there's still 100 games left in the season.
Granted, we did go on a winning streak at the same exact time the Rays lost 6 in a row, so it was the perfect storm, like we talked about on our previous episode. So, I would say it's a tad bit lucky. But I'm not.
Oh, come on, stop it!
I wouldn't say lucky. I would say it.
I'd rather be lucky than good.
The fact that we gained so much ground so quick, that's a little bit, obviously just circumstance. You guys ended up losing to the Royals, and the Rays decided to free fall after being the hottest team in baseball. But, yeah, we're definitely feeling a little bit better, and it's definitely a better episode we'll have. Like, we would have been just drinking you've just been drinking our tears this episode had it been like that. I'm preview, so
I'm really excited because what this is setting up for, right, guys? Yankees are back. The division race is on. World Series is back on, and then just another sweep in Boston, and then boom, right back to 8 games back.
We were taking a look at the calendar. There's a lot of Red Sox Yankees coming up in the next month.
Oh yeah, because they haven't played. I mean, this is only the second series of the season. And
games left.
Yeah, and
there's 11 we have 3 this weekend, and then there's
4 July 15th, then another 4 July 22nd. So in the next 30 days, essentially, a little bit more than that, we play 11 times. So we haven't in 3 months of the season, we've played 3 times. So basically, what we need you for, other than we're gonna need you for the bets too, but what the hell is going on with this Red Sox team? Because going into this year, we assumed this team, and I'm sure you're one of those people also, because you're a big baseball guy. You're a realist too. They weren't supposed to be this good. The offense was supposed to be this good. We knew that. We knew Devers was good. We knew, JD was due for a bounce back, and, everybody else, Xander. But the pitching was supposed to be horrendous. How is the pitching been holding up this year?
It's the bullpen. I honestly, coming into the season, I mean, the Red Sox were the worst bullpen in baseball last year. I honestly, I did not expect this type of performance from their bullpen. I mean, they're top 5, top 10 in pretty much every metric you look at. And you look at some of the guys in their bullpen. I mean, Matt Barnes is obviously pretty good. Guy, I'd like to thank you guys for Ottavino. He's pretty good. Thanks for
Has he been doing well this year?
Yeah, thanks for giving him to us for basically free. Josh Taylor, Garrett Whitlock, those type of guys. Coming into the season, it's like those guys who just got shelled last season, and it was basically a who's who of what's gonna happen. And the bullpen's held up, and then top of that, Eovaldi's looked fantastic. Garrett Richards and Nick Pivetta have somewhat held up. And then Eduardo Rodriguez has also been pitching well. And then the offense is basically just taken over. The offense is fantastic against both right-handers and left-handers. Devers, Bogarts, all these guys are hitting the ball well. And it's just, honestly, it's coming together perfectly. And when we finally have our manager back in the dugout after his, year sabbatical, it's just if the bullpen continues to hold up, like I don't see, I think this Red Sox team can definitely win the East now that, the Rays are starting to free fall, and that seems like Glasnow is going to be out for a long time for them. And no offense, but I think we're a little better than the Yankees right now. So, I think this Red Sox team now I've got expectations. Now I've got hope. So I'm firmly ready for us to lose in 7 games in the playoffs to the Astros or something, but it'll be a fun ride.
What's the biggest weakness right now?
It's the back end of the starting rotation. I mean, Pivetta and Garrett Richards have held up to this point, but it hasn't been great. And those 2 guys have not been great throughout their career. I haven't seen what the news is with Sale yet. I haven't really been paying attention. I don't know if he's coming back yet this year or not, but it is definitely that back end of the rotation. If those guys start to free fall, and it's basically just up to Eovaldi and Rodriguez to kind of right the ship and just trust that this bullpen will continue to hold up, that makes me really worried. But then again, if our offense continues to hit the way it's been hitting, I don't see, we could just win games, 9-8 or 10-9. So, yeah, it's going to have to be the back end's got to continue to hold up if we're going to win the East.
Yeah, I was taking a look at, on the podcast yesterday, we were talking a lot about Jonathan Loaisiga and how he's been just awesome for us this year and didn't expect that at all. I think that exact player on your team, because when I was looking at the rankings, Matt Barnes has been in my eyes, when I was looking at where he ranked among relievers with a minimum of like 20 or so 30 innings pitched, Matt Barnes was leading in almost every category.
Oh yeah.
But his ERA was higher, which I guess that doesn't really matter. His FIP and expected stuff were all low. So he's having himself a bang up year, and you guys didn't seem like you had a closer, and you guys were just going to default into Matty Backpacks, our friend calls him. And is that what all of Red Sox Nation calls him, or is that just our friend?
I think some of Red Sox Nation calls him that. I mean, it's a cool nickname, so I mean, I'll let him have it. But yeah, I think the Red Sox bullpen, I think they just came to the season kind of hoping, like you said, just being like, all right, we'll just try out Matt Barnes. If it doesn't work, maybe we'll go to Ottavino, maybe we'll just try another guy or whatever. And Barnes is he's been awesome. I mean, especially, what was it, on Sunday Night Baseball, that curveball that he threw to strike out on the 3-2 count in the bottom of the 8th, was it? That was a beautiful pitch against the Yankees. But
I know which one.
I thought it was a great call. I thought it was a great pitch. You can't trust the robot strike zone. Every umpire has his own zone. But no, he's been fantastic, and like you said, he's pretty much leading in every single category. If he continues to hold up, it's crazy to say, but I think this Red Sox bullpen is actually good. Now that I'm saying that, you watch in the next 2 weeks, they'll just completely shit the bed and then just, free fall. And then it's like, oh crap, now we don't have a bullpen. We don't have a back end rotation, and let's hope our offense holds up. So, but right now I'm feeling great going into this Yankee series.
Yeah. So before we preview a little bit of the lines, because I know you did a little bit of your wizardry and your magic with projecting the lines, I wanted to go over the pitching matchups, because that obviously has a fairly large impact on the lines and stuff like that. So game one, obviously this is subject to change, but it's lined up right now as Herman versus Martin Perez, Jordan Montgomery versus Nathan Eovaldi, and Garrett Cole versus Erod. So I looked at the numbers, and you were mentioning too their years so far this year. Martin Perez doing pretty well with 4.32 ERA, which is better than I would have expected. I don't even know who Martin Perez is going into this year, but you said Erod was doing pretty well. He's got a 6.21. So what's going on with that? Is he doing good as of late? I know he's pitching tonight.
Yeah, I think he started off really bad. I haven't looked into his numbers as of late, but yeah, I mean, Erod in general has way more talent than, a guy like Martin Perez or, Pivetta or Garrett Richards. But I just personally really do like Eduardo Rodriguez. I really like his stuff. I know he's had, a bad start to the season. He missed all of last year. I can't remember if he was an opt-out or whatever. And, I just pulled it up right now. He may have a 6.21 ERA, but his xERA and his xFIP are at 3.54 and 3.37. So he is due for some positive regression. He's got a 10.53 K per 9 rate. His walk per 9 rate is below 3. So he's pitching really well. It's just kind of a little bit of a bad luck type situation. So, he's going to be facing Garrett Cole. So that matchup, on paper, when you look at the two ERAs, because, Garrett Cole's been, I'll admit it, he's been the best pitcher in the AL this season.
Thank you.
Well, maybe
don't even.
What?
Stuff.
What?
Everybody uses sticky stuff.
I know, but okay. Can I just say that it made me really happy. It made me laugh that Garrett Cole just looked like the most guilty person on planet Earth.
He handled that so poorly.
All you have to do is just say yes or no. Like you can either just lie and say no, or just say yeah. Everybody
really
uses
know how
it.
to answer that.
Don't be quiet. Like look over to like the PR team and be like, what do I do?
What should
What do I do? What do I do? Oh my gosh, yeah. So no, I'm pro everybody using Spider Tech. Use whatever you want. I don't really care. But I just thought it was really funny him looking very guilty. But yeah, I think that matchup might be a little closer. Like I think you might see Cole like open around minus 200. So I'll definitely be playing the Red Sox at, whatever plus 170 they'll probably be at, would be my guess. Just because, Eduardo Rodriguez is due for that, positive type regression there. So, yeah, I actually do think that Red Sox will have a chance there on Sunday night.
That is interesting. And it's funny that we brought up specifically Erod. I would like to get, obviously that we wouldn't know this right now, but I'd like to take a look around the league to find, because I feel like you now knowing that he's due for positive regression should target Erod from here on out going forward, because he's due for that. That's probably a good methodology going around the league, finding those guys who have a difference in expecteds versus their regular ERAs and just ride them.
Yeah, I mean, it is that is a generally in sports betting, and this can go for really any sport, but what we really try to do with at least projecting or honestly betting is we want to bet on what should be happening versus what has actually been happening. And with these new advanced metrics like xERA, xFIP, X weighted on base average, that can tell us exactly, how good a player should be. And maybe he's just not getting the results. Maybe, he's hitting warning track, fly balls or line drives right at the shortstop, or a pitcher who his field's making errors behind him, or, maybe some guy just hit a really good pitch. Those type of things are things that we really want to look at. And that's actually how you can be profitable over that time, because if we continually to bet what should be happening and the odds are reflecting what's actually been happening over time, those things water will find its level. And that's where you can make that money when you have that guy who's due for either positive or negative regression.
Are you one of those guys? I mean, like, I think you're not, but I know a lot of people like don't bet on the team they root for.
I don't like betting.
I don't know. I will bet against for just whatever the projection says. I don't really
bet against Red Sox.
Oh, all the time. Yeah.
Wow, that takes a lot of you're trusting the math right there. It's like that's
yeah. It's one of those things where I see your point. Like I did used to be like that, where I was just like, oh, I can't bet on or for the Red Sox, because the reality of like betting and everything like that, and I think it kind of more says to like just Major League Baseball. If it was a playoff game, yeah, I probably wouldn't do it. Yeah. But if it's just the regular season, I have a theory basically. Well, I think everybody else I think has this theory, but if you're betting for or against your team, you clearly care about one thing more than the other. Either you care about your team more than the money, or you care about your money more than the team. So if I'm betting against the Red Sox right now, maybe I'm caring a little bit more about money in the regular season than I am, about how the Red Sox are doing. Yeah. But then again, if it comes to like the postseason, no, I'm not going to do that. If the other team has value, I'm just going to be like, okay, I just won't bet on the game, rather than just like, wagering on the Red Sox just because I want it to be fun. Not that there's anything wrong with that at all. But yeah, I'm one of those people that during the regular season, I'm kind of just like, it's a long grind, I mean, I would love to bet on the Red Sox every single night, but the reality of the situation is over time, I'm probably not going to make that much money.
Yeah. I mean, especially Red Sox, Yankees are usually two teams that are favored most of the time too. And we've found that out the hard way. And, baseball, the best teams win 60% of their games. So you're really, really going to have a tough time being a profitable team. That's why the teams that are always profitable, we talked about that on last episode, are like random teams. Like, usually the Athletics, although they're really good this year, but like teams like that historically, and I don't know, like the Cardinals. I don't know who was the most profitable this year. The Giants, because they're
it's the teams you don't expect coming into the season to be good that end up being the most profitable, and it's honestly the teams that just aren't favored by a lot every night and have a decent record. Because like the Giants, I think they're still leading the NL West, but every night they're still around minus 110, minus 115, depending if they're playing, an even matchup with somebody. Whereas, you look at the Dodgers. I don't know if you guys saw this last night, but the Dodgers were underdogs against the Padres on Monday night, and that was the first time they've been underdogs since 2019, which is crazy to think about.
Just in general or at home?
No, in any game.
That's literally insane.
That's insane, right?
That's so crazy.
That's crazy.
You know, shortened year last year, but still, still, who cares? That's unbelievable.
Yeah, it's things like that. So it's like, everybody wants to bet on the Dodgers, the teams that are the best, but it's like you're betting on as favorites every single night. Yeah. So if they're not winning, whatever percentage games are winning based on whatever their average line is, then you're not really making much money. So you'll find a lot of times that a lot of underdog teams end up being the most profitable.
Yeah. And another thing on that note with betting on your team, like I've tried to find ways around it, like taking the overs and stuff, and then I end up needing the Royals to score 3 against the Yankees to tie it up to get me my money. It's a whole big thing. I don't really
that's where you just take the Yankees team total. Then you don't have to worry about the Royals scoring.
See, I wasn't that advanced at the time. This was my junior year of college. Then we were just taking things. So the analytics were introduced. The advanced stats came after that, I feel like. Right. I like to tell myself. I know they existed, but I was under a rock. So more on this note, I know you kind of teased it a little bit with what picks you may be taking, but overall, what picks do you think you'd be taking, and you should tell just any general bettor listening to this right now that they should coming up for the series?
You talking about for tomorrow?
For the Red Sox series.
Oh, Red Sox. Okay, yep. So I went and projected it out.
Too.
Oh yeah, I'll do those a little later. So first matchup, Domingo Germán. Is that how I pronounce it?
There you go.
There's the agenda.
There we go. It's not German.
No, it's not German.
Okay. Versus Martin Perez. I have the Yankees as a -104 favorite in that one, and a really high total of 11.19 runs. That's mainly due to the Red Sox park factor, and also, those two pitchers have pretty much been struggling this season, and you're facing basically two of the best offenses in the AL. So be on the lookout for that total. I'm assuming it'll be around 10.5 or whatever. So if you get 10.5 at -105 or better, you might be good there. If it's at 10, then that's great. That'll be an interesting matchup, just because the Yankees are pretty average versus left-handed pitching, and Perez is a below-average left-hander. So it'll be interesting to see how that one kind of shakes out. And I know Germán is mainly a curveball pitcher, and the Red Sox have been really good against curveballs this season. So that will be kind of a coin flip game, as you see in the projections. But yeah, I'd say for that game, more than anything, I'll probably be targeting that over between those two pitchers, because it's a good matchup for both offenses. Saturday is Jordan Montgomery versus Nathan Eovaldi. Eovaldi's been the best pitcher for the Red Sox, the starter this season. Montgomery's been good himself. I have the Red Sox projected at -111. Something to kind of look out for there. The Red Sox do hit lefties pretty well. I know Montgomery has been very good for the Yankees this season, but it might not be a great matchup for him. But at the same time, Eovaldi's not going to have a great matchup because the Yankees hit righties very well versus, like I just said, they're hitting pretty average against lefties, but they do excel against righties. So that'll be an interesting one. Maybe look at total there. I have 10.17 runs projected. So you might be, if you can get maybe a 9 or an 8.5, that'd probably be good for an over. But
so we might be in for a little bit of a London series type score.
Yeah, I think we're going to see a lot of runs in this series, just because it's, I think people, when you see two good starting pitchers on the mound, you kind of almost automatically think like, oh, it's an under game. If you see like the Sunday night matchup, if you see Cole Rodriguez, you're like, oh, that's an under. That's two great pitchers. But I think a lot of people miss that. It's like, oh yeah, but it's also two of the best offenses in the AL. And I think people kind of either don't forget that, or maybe just kind of ignore it and kind of focus on the starting pitchers. But the offenses are still important, and good offenses can still hit good pitching. So, yeah. So I guess, at least we can move right on into Sunday night. Cole versus Rodriguez. I have the Yankees projected at -142, which I know sounds low with Cole on the mound. and a total of 9.45 runs. I think this is a situation. I don't know if I've already said it, but Cole's probably going to be minus 200 or above, I'd guess. I mean, tonight he was what, minus 275 at home against the, what was it, like minus 300 or something against the Royals. Yeah. So, I mean, home field advantage is, very minimal in Major League Baseball, especially in the regular season. So I'd expect him to be somewhere around minus 200 or maybe minus 175. So I'll probably end up taking the Red Sox on Sunday night, and potentially that's over as well if they put the total pretty low. But yeah, I think we're just, honestly, this whole series, I think we're just set up for runs. And I think those first two games are coin flips, and then Cole obviously being the favorite on Sunday night. Now that I'm saying, like, yeah, I'm going to bet the Red Sox, like, the Yankees have like a 65% chance of winning. So they're probably going to win that game on Sunday night. But I do think the other two games are kind of toss-ups. So we could be looking at another sweep here, boys.
It's funny. I was thinking the same thing from our perspective. No, but I mean, here's the thing. That would have totally been the case had we not been playing the way we are. And I guess that script could flip as quickly as it changed with, let's say this series against the Royals goes as bad as it did for you guys. Jab. But well, this Royals team isn't bad. They're honestly a little bit, they're like a Walmart version of the Red Sox. I think they're a good offense, and they were supposed to be bad or below average pitching, but the Red Sox pitching obviously just ended up being good.
Well, they have one of my favorite players that we decided to trade away this season. Yeah.
It's funny. Benny. I was talking about Benny potentially being, a trade target for us because I want a lefty outfielder.
No. I don't need another Johnny Damon situation. Okay. No.
But it's different though, because it's not from the Red Sox, so there's a little bit of in between.
Yeah, it's indirectly.
From
he kind of goes around.
Yeah, I don't like that.
He's more of a Red Sox than he is a Royal.
See, you say you don't like that, but I guess, from your perspective, you don't like it. I don't mind it. I don't mind having a Red Sox.
Well, yeah, of course you don't mind it. He's awesome.
No, I knew. I liked him, too. And he was a fan favorite I knew in Boston, and he's a good fielder, which we need because we're, if not the highest in errors, and we need some fielding in the outfield. And I don't know if he can play center. Can he play center?
Yeah, he can play everywhere.
Okay, so
he's awesome.
He's not in the lineup tonight. What happened to him?
He's hurt.
Yeah,
that's
how hurt? Like hurt enough
he's
to
on
not trade?
10 day. I think he's on the 10-day IL.
He's like a lingering injury that is.
Yeah, I'd still go after him. I actually really want him.
Moves.
Of the people I want him. It's for the outfield, him, either Starlin Marte, Ketel Marte, I think. But I think honestly Benny makes the most sense. But
what, you guys are done with big head Brett Gardner?
I've been done with big head Brett Gardner.
We've been done with him.
He's the Yankee I hate the most of everybody.
I don't blame you. I would hate him
too. I get that.
And that was my thing with Benintendi. I never really hated Benintendi. I honestly kind of liked it. And a lot of the people on the Red Sox, I don't hate. Like, how do you hate Devers? You don't. You just He's good. He's a cute guy.
Yeah, he's got a cute face.
Like he's fun.
Yeah. Xander Bogaerts is just awesome.
Yeah. It's just not like the old rivalry. I hope that sparks back up. Since Joe Kelly's been gone and Tyler Austin.
I love Joe Kelly.
Bring those guys back.
Just for the series, just give them like a weekend contract.
Hey, you know what? Maybe throw one if one ball maybe goes behind Bogaerts or Stanton or Voit, maybe we have a situation brewing. Who knows? Yeah. I wouldn't mind it.
I mean, I think the way that would shake out would not be in the. We're talking about projected odds. I think. I think I'd take our boys in that. Granted.
Oh yeah, for sure. We're definitely not a big team like we used to be.
They could definitely slip though and just be out for the year though. So I wouldn't advise that for them. So back to a little bit of the. I mean, let's just talk a little bit more about the Red Sox. Why not?
Oh, sure. Why not?
I mean, what the hell's going on with your leadoff situation? Because I was trying to take a peek at the lineup. You guys don't have a leadoff guy. I know, you've been mixing in and out, and I think what's his name? That guy that they traded Mookie Betts for.
Verdugo.
Yeah, I know his name, but
he's great too.
They're talking about him being potentially the face of the Red Sox. Is that in the ballpark of?
Personally, I think Xander. or Roth or Devers would be the face of the Red Sox, or even JD Martinez, honestly. The leadoff spot, I mean, they've been just rotating. They're going, like, tonight they went with Danny Santana, who's been horrible. They might go with Kike Hernandez, who's been fine, or anything like that. Yeah, I mean, they're just kind of rotating that one spot, but they're 2 through 5 is pretty much just set. It's Verdugo, Martinez, Bogarts, and Devers pretty much every night, which, I love. So I don't think it really matters who rotates into that spot. I think they'll figure it out as the season goes along. But as long as we have that 2, 3, 4, 5, like, I'm happy.
Yeah, that's funny because with our lineup too, you said like every given night it's like 2, 3, 4, 5 is usually the same. We have like a different lineup every single night, and that's so annoying to me, and I'm sure it's annoying to the players too. Like, Glaber has been moved up and down the lineup.
I'm guessing it's probably matchup based. Would be my guess is why they move. I think I'd assume a wonderful franchise like the Yankees has a really good analytics department that can tell them that kind of stuff.
You'd be wrong in assuming that because they're not very good. I mean, at least to me, it looks pretty bad. It's just funny too because you just said like the Yankees are very righty. They're hitting righties very well this year, but then in playoff scenarios, you'll have this is ingrained in my brain when they pinch hit. I think this is when Clint Frazier was good at the time too. So they should have pinch hit Clint because he mashes righties and he's actually worse against lefties. But there was a righty on the mound, so they brought in Brett Gardner, and who is historically bad from both sides, but he's also a flip-flop, like split. He's bad against the same side. So it was just weird. They go against the grain. They just do lefty right. It's very caveman-like, but anyway.
Yeah. I'm sure if teams are just changing their lineups up that much, it's definitely matchup based, based on whatever the analytics are. Teams that don't use analytics or I'm not saying that pretty much every team uses analytics, but you really notice the teams that don't because their lineups stay exactly the same every single night, which I can understand is annoying, like lineups changing, but it is also very obvious to me when I look at like, back in the day, I think it's gotten better, but 2 or 3 years ago with like the Reds, like every single night, it just came out the exact same lineup as the night before. And it was just over and over and over again. And that's like, maybe just take a look at how good guys are versus lefty or righty, or something as simple as that. It doesn't have to be, super complicated. I know, like, for example, like, a department like the Rays or whatever, who has a massive analytical department and they change up things, here and there all the time. But yeah, to me, if you see a team that just doesn't change their lineup at all, depending on what the matchup is, because like the Red Sox have a great like 2 through 5, but the rest of their lineup changes like at the bottom depending on who's on the mound. Whether they're good versus lefties or righties, because it's been Renfro's been coming in, Dahlbeck, all those guys have been kind of rotating in and out. Hernandez, so yeah, it's analytics in general with baseball. I think it is important to at least know what's happening when players have better matchups and everything like that. But in general in sports, sometimes you have to just go with your gut and as a manager as what you see, with players hitting. I mean, we saw that in the World Series. I mean, Kevin Cash went home and died with his computer in his arms for taking Snell out. Yeah, so there's things like that where if you trust analytics too much, it can cost you. But I do think it is important for Major League Baseball teams to at least know, certain matchups, what guys excel at and what they don't.
Yeah, analytics or not, I think Mr. Brett Gardner, who's up right now, needs to get the fuck out of here. But yeah, so did you have any picks for the upcoming days? This is going to be releasing tomorrow on Wednesday when people are listening to it. So
I do. I have 2 picks. One is a 4:00 game, so hopefully people listen to this before. It's Rockies Mariners. I know it's a star-studded matchup that everybody wants to watch. It's going to be German Yeah. Well, I'm actually be going against the Mariners here. German Marquez versus Justice Sheffield.
There it is again, German.
Oh, yeah, you're right. Yep, there it goes. Yep, I did it again. Herman, I apologize to the entire Marquez family. Herman Marquez.
There you go.
He's actually been the best pitcher for the Rockies this season. He's got a 3.86 xERA and 3.83 xFIP, which are both considered, better than major league average. The reason he's been so good is because his two main off-speed pitches of curveball and slider have been really dominant. Both are allowing a X-weighted on base average under 230 to opposing hitters, and both of them have a whiff rate over 43%, which is ridiculous. As far as the Mariners are concerned, yes, they've been hot, but they are really bad versus right-handed pitching. They have the 5th worst weighted on base average and the highest strikeout rate against righties. And they're also 24th in Major League Baseball against both sliders and curveballs. So it's quite a good matchup for Germán Marquez. And Justice Sheffield, on the other hand, he's a lefty. He's been getting shelled. His xERA is all the way up at 6.03, which is one of the worst in Major League Baseball. Opponents are hitting 303 against him. His whip is at 1.66. His home run per 9 rate is at 1.55. He's been awful. And Colorado, despite all their struggles, and I know they have a terrible record, but they actually crushed left-handed pitching. They have the 2nd best weighted on base average against lefties and a 340 weighted on base average, which is 3rd best in Major League Baseball. So I love the Rockies in the spot. I have them projected at minus 129, and I think they opened at minus 110. So I think there's some good value there at the short odds on the road. And the next matchup, I went with the headliner of tomorrow, Dodgers Padres, Bauer versus Musgrove. Trevor Bauer, he's been fine. Like, he's been really good this season, but he hasn't been to his what his peak was last year. So he's got a 3.73 xFIP. His home run and walk per 9 rates are up. His K per 9 rate is down. The 2 pitches he's been struggling with the most have been his cutter and his curveball. Both are allowing a weighted on base average over 325. Now the Padres, they've been pretty average versus right-handed pitching. They have a 312 weighted on base average, but they are the 4th best team against curveball. So they have somewhat of a decent matchup against Bauer. But what I really like in this matchup is Musgrove's matchup against the Dodgers, because I think you can make the argument that Musgrove has actually been the best pitcher for the Padres this season, which I don't think anybody would have expected coming into the season after signing Snell and Darvish. But he's got a 2.28 ERA. He's got an xFIP of 3. He's got a K per 9 rate over 11, and his walk per 9 rate is under 2, which is really good control. And not many pitchers can say that so far this season. What's interesting about Musgrove is he's mainly an off-speed guy. He throws a slider and a curveball almost 50% of the time. And those 2 pitches are allowing a weighted on base average under 185 this season, which is almost unheard of. And so the Dodgers, they do hit right-handers well, but they're mainly a fastball changeup hitting team. Most of their successes come against those 2 pitches. They only have a 3.8 positive run value against curveballs and sliders. So I think Musgrove does have a pretty good matchup. And San Diego also has a good advantage in the bullpens because they have a better ERA, xFIP, K per 9, and walk per 9 rate than the Dodgers. So I got the Padres projected at minus 142. So they opened around the short price of minus 110. I love them at that price, and I'd play anything up to minus 125.
I like it. I like all just when you start spitting those details at me, it's like it just music to my ears. It just makes too much sense to lose. I don't know how it can lose.
No, you say that, and then
I don't want to jinx you.
Yeah, and then Mookie Betts hits a grand slam in like the second inning, and it's like, oh man. And then the Mariners, put 6 runs in the second, and you're like, oh, okay, well, now it's done.
Yeah, well, he's been a little bit of a clunker this year, but I'm sure he's Mookie Betts, so he'll turn it around. So.
Oh yeah, he's another one I love.
Yeah, I mean, when you did mention that, just one little thing, I almost wanted to intervene, but I wanted you to continue spitting your facts. But when you said Justice Sheffield not looking too great, I think that's music to my ears, considering how badly that trade turned out for us, because he was a Yankee, and James Paxton's not really the best guy that we had on the team. So. That's good to hear, at least. I'm glad he's not just absolutely lighting it up, because I would lose sleep over that.
No, he's been one of the worst.
That's fantastic.
Yeah, I mean, we haven't heard any word about him, so I just assumed he was doing bad.
So there you guys. You want to trade? There you go.
Well, we did. I'm
gonna put the stamp on it. You guys won that trade.
Broke even on.
Yeah, I guess we did get a little bit. So yeah, I'll take a win there. A very small win. Very not by much.
No, I'm gonna give you guys the win.
All right, I'll take that. Well, I hope you don't get any wins in this upcoming series. I hope you guys lose all of the next 16 games against us.
Oh, stop it! Come on, I think we have a nice, good sweep coming up this weekend in Boston. We're gonna be having fun.
Just friendly banter, but
oh yeah.
thank you for coming on, man. I look forward to, obviously you'll be on alternating with the other guy, the other action guy. So what was his name? Sorry, Colin. Sorry, I'm gonna ask. But yeah, I look forward to catching up with you and talking more bets. I appreciate you coming on. And as always, you could follow us on download the Action Network app first and follow us on 161 Luke, 161 Damon. There's 161 Murph and 161 Bing that aren't here right now. And where can the people find you on the Action app?
BJ Cunningham.
All right, and he is the good one. So if you're gonna follow anybody, follow him.
We're also putting all that in the podcast description as well.
Yeah.
So you just go look it there.
It's below on the YouTube or on the podcast apps if you're listening. So, all right, man. Appreciate it.
Thanks, guys.